fix your teeth. So get your phones ready, keep your fingers nice and steady, but don't text and drive. We can't wait to see you smile. It's the Total Dentistry way. Call Total Dentistry at 847-358-2477 or visit totaldentistry.org. And ask about our holiday specials. Total Dentistry, 847-358-2477 or visit totaldentistry.org. Total Dentistry, a general dental practice like no other.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope they're happy, healthy, and safe wherever you are today. We are live in the WCPT 820 studios and wondering what's on your mind. Give us a call or text to 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. Lady B will be the lovely voice that you hear when you call us. And if you do text us, I will do my best to get to those, as well as comments that come up on our Facebook page for WCPT, where we are live streaming this show. So here's the thing: you don't have to you don't have to watch it. It's also a good way to have it on in the background. And we have a YouTube channel, so like our page, our WCPT page, so that you can learn more about events and giveaways that we have coming up, and a special broadcast. We are going to be doing an election night coverage on next Tuesday night. We're doing election coverage beginning, I believe, at 9 p.m. to find out about races around the country that we're watching, particular Wisconsin. And I believe, we'll take a look at all the races that are going on and let us know what your thoughts are on races in other states. How are you participating? Are you helping get out the vote in other places and making sure that we are voting blue no matter... Well, you know what? I hate the vote blue no matter who, because you do have to take into account who you're voting for. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment, because we've got a great show coming up. At 5:30, we're going to check in with Tom Appel, who is at the station. He has brought dangerous substances in the form of donuts, which is going to be something. I've left them in the coffee room. Lady B, Tom Appel brought donuts, just so you know. I forgot the name of the place. Yeah, go get some donuts. I got my coffee ready to get some donuts on that first break, and a little bit of a sugar rush. I don't even know. I'm going to have sugar all week. I went out and bought Halloween candy yesterday. And by the way, in case you're wondering, Walgreens is doing a buy one, get 40% off for most of their big bags of candy, even those big bags that have like 175 pieces or 250 pieces. So if you are on the lookout for some bargains, there is a deal at Walgreens right now. And let us know where you're getting your candy from, because a lot of folks were worried that there would be a disruption in the supply chain and there might be a shortage, but I was able to pick them up not only for this weekend, but I had several bags for the trunk or treat event that we did in Arlington Heights. Since we are talking about cars, this actually works out very well, because I want to draw your attention to an article that appeared in Block Club, where Block Club really is breaking some of the best local news in Chicago. You know, we do need local news. We need people who are doing what's necessary to make sure that stories are told. And there's a piece in Block Club Chicago about the rate of pullovers, whether it's moving violations or for whatever reason traffic stops in various communities in the city of Chicago. Now, here's the thing: is that cops. I live in the community that they focus on. Some of the communities. On the northwest side, we have a tremendous amount of first responders, and the same thing on the south side, like by Mount Greenwood and Beverly. There are a lot of firefighters and cops that live in this area, and they did a study on our neighborhoods: Edison Park, Norwood Park, Jefferson Park, and in contrast with places like Austin, Garfield Park, North Lawndale. And they found that drivers are least likely to be pulled over on the far northwest and southwest sides, as I mentioned, where a lot of first responders live. And I don't want to tell you the part of this headline, because it's going to make... So people driving the city's two police strongholds are least likely to be pulled over, according to an analysis of 2020 Chicago police data. The 16th district, which is where we broadcast from, on the northwest side, and the 22nd district on the southwest side, those two areas had the fewest traffic stops. I could read you the entire article, but there are a lot of things that come up in this story. Block Club Chicago has mapped out all 327,224 traffic stops conducted in 2020 in Chicago, and they were able to redact the data about the precise location. The precise location of traffic stops was redacted, but the stops were grouped into small geographic areas known as the police beats, and each police district has 17 beats. The map shows police are not conducting traffic stops evenly across the city, and a tremendous bulk of drivers were stopped in neighborhoods on the south and west side, while very few drivers were stopped in mostly white neighborhoods on the north side. There's part of this article where they talk about this neighborhood in particular, my neighborhood, Jefferson Park, has only 1% of the population that is black, while 11% of stops were black drivers. So how... And that's important in just a moment, because Alderman Sposato said that one of the reasons why Alderman Sposato, a former firefighter who represents parts of the Northwest Side, said the lack of stops in Jefferson Park and surrounding neighborhoods isn't because cops aren't enforcing traffic rules in neighborhoods where many officers live. Residents in his ward, he says, which is the 38th ward, he says the residents in his ward rarely get stopped because this is a very law-abiding community. When you get pulled over, anybody can get out of a ticket, Sposato continues. All you have to do is cooperate with the police. White people just know how to talk their way out of a ticket. They just cooperate. That was what he said about why... In my head, I've looked at this article, I retweeted it earlier, and when I read it out loud, my head just, I can't with this. Okay, no, first of all, okay, you have to be pulled over in order to even begin to talk your way out of a ticket. Let's just start there, because the idea is that there are fewer stops. This is before you even have any interaction with the police officer. So more stops are made in communities of color. So they just say it, folks. Just all the racists just need to say black people commit more. Just say it. Just say it, and we can go on from there. Well, although he actually does. He says that because his community is very law-abiding and white, they get out of tickets easier. They don't get pulled over as much. And I can tell you, please, you know what I want? I want a study of all these speeding cameras, and tell me that on the northwest side that there aren't people speeding, that there are tell me that they are law-abiding citizens. Me and Lady B are just we're apoplectic at this point. I should probably talk to somebody on the phone because they want to change the subject, and that's probably appropriate because my head's gonna explode. Mark, help me from keeping my head exploded about this. You have a different race you want to talk about. What's on your mind, Mark? Yes.
How you doing, Pat?
I'm doing okay.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to point out how very important that this race is in Virginia, because if this guy Youngkin wins, and you can just expect all the Republicans and all the Trump supporters coming out and saying, and especially the Republicans, they're not going to change their strategy, because they say this basically is working for us, because we can still go out and support Trump, and look, we still going to get victories. And this race is very important. I just hope the people in Virginia don't sit this out and not take this serious, because this is a very important race, and this pretty much is going to be a predicament of what's to come in the 2022 elections, in the midterms. I mean, if the Democrats lose these, they got a race in New Jersey, a governor's race in New Jersey and Virginia. Now, if they lose both of these races here, I just don't know. I think it's going to be a disaster for the Democrats in 2022.
I think that well, what I'm hoping for is that since the Republicans continue to spew lies about election rigging, hopefully that will dissuade a lot of Republicans from not even maybe they won't even bother because they figure it's all rigged. That's going to have to be. That happened in California. You keep spreading that lie that it doesn't matter if you vote, and Democrats have to be reminded that it does matter if you vote. We do need to get out. When we vote, when we show up, things get better. It's just true.
Right.
Yep.
I agree. I just hope people just take this serious and don't sit out because we get lackadaisical. We seem to take our foot off the gas pedal. We have to keep the pressure on. You know, you can't relax on these people because the Republicans are not relaxing. They're spending every waking moment trying to figure out how to rig elections, how to stay in power, and they're the minority in this country, but they're going to hold most of the majority of the power with this gerrymandering, these districts and everything. They don't have to be in the majority to win because they're rigging everything in their favor.
Right.
So that's why we can't sleep. We have to be aggressive. We can't sit back.
And I think that you're right when you say that Democrats take their foot off the gas, and it's as though Trump was the barrier to everything getting better. He was just a symptom of the problem.
Right.
And a lot of people are disengaging. They figure they've put in their time. They succeeded in getting Biden into office, and it's not enough. And there's polling out there that says that half of women in 4 crucial swing states, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, are paying less attention since Trump left office, according to a survey by American Bridge 21st Century. Yep. Wow.
I agree. We just don't stay. We don't stay active. Man. That's the only thing I'm disappointed in Democrats about. They do not stay active, and then they let all these people, these crazies, get in office, and then they want to scream. I mean, you have to be paying attention, people. You can't just vote in the presidential election and think, okay, my job is done. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know?
What do you think about? I have friends who are in their 20s and 30s, and they basically say that we have made them cynical, or we're not doing enough to inspire them. How much more do we have to do to show you what's at danger, what's at risk, whether it's women's reproductive rights or workers' rights? Because here's another study that says 35% of voters 18 to 29 years old said they only 35% are motivated to vote next year. And to only 35%, then you're going to keep getting the old white guy vote. Sorry, old white guys, but you know what I'm saying. If I'm not talking about you, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, we're going to keep getting the same old, and they're going to keep on passing these laws against women, and bringing up these false things like critical race theory, and I mean, they just like to get their base gender up, and then that motivates these people to go out and vote for these crazy people. That's why we got Marjorie Taylor Greene and this lady Boebert and stuff. That's why we get these people, because we take our foot off the gas, and everything's good now. When we got Joe Biden elected. No, you have to stay engaged. I mean, from your school board members on up, you have to stay engaged. That's the only way you're gonna, stay ahead of these people. You have to be engaged.
Well, and I think that Trump's crazy gave that fuel for urgency, and now that he's not there isn't this sort of like, oh my God, everything's crazy. And I don't know if it's just exhaustion or not being aware of the dangers, but you're right. We need to engage young people and those who helped us win elections last year.
And one more thing, another thing that's kind of making me upset too is with these people. We didn't get everything we wanted in these 2 bills. I mean, it's the Congress. You're not going to get everything in one shot. It's like people want a football analogy, throwing a Hail Mary and thinking everything you're going to catch the Hail Mary with 2 seconds left on the clock. It doesn't work that way. That's why Congress is the way Congress is, okay? Unless you have a supermajority, you're not going to get everything you want.
Right,
okay?
and it's only going to get worse since we're barely hanging on by a thread with Sienna and Munchin taking, standing in front of everything and being obstacles to more success, because that's where we really run into roadblocks.
As long as you got corporate Democrats in there like Joe Manchin and Sinema, you're not going to get that. They're corporate Democrats. They're not. They're trying to protect billionaires.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Joe Manchin is trying to protect billionaires. Yeah. I'm like, what is this here?
How are you on the side of billionaires when they're going off to space? Did you watch Saturday Night Live? They did a great job with the guy.
No, I missed it.
Oh, they I think it was a few weeks ago with Elon Musk and who's the dyed blonde hair guy from Virgin Airlines. Those guys like having a space race, and then Bezos.
Branson.
Yeah.
Sir Richard Branson.
Yeah. It's don't even get me started started. There's a story out of the South about this woman who has a newborn, and she was being underpaid $90 a month because of a glitch in the system. Other people were getting fired when they were taking like health reasons off, and because they didn't put enough hours, they were getting fired. It was wage theft left and right. And this is a company where the guys like building ships to go out into space. Oh, we could go on all day.
Right.
This is insane.
I know. Always it's a pleasure conversing with you, Patty.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much.
Easy.
Have a great evening.
Right.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll take a break here. We'll take Andrew's call when we come back, 773-763-9278, to join our conversation. What's on your mind? What's making you sound like your head's going to explode? I don't know. There's a whistling noise in my head, Lady B, and I'm going to take a break so we can take a deep breath and come back in just a moment on Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Can I get a weight reading on the cat in exam 3?
Zuri needs a new vet tech after their current one literally moved to a farm.
Detailed checkup is waiting.
But finding an ideal replacement takes some training.
This is like herding cats.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-590-7516. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-590-7516. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-590-7516. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-590-7516. 800-590-7516.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
On January 6, 2021, followers of Trump and something called QAnon attempted a coup at the United States Capitol. Who are these people?
I wanna live with the QAnon girl. I could be.
I can't even begin to imagine the thought process that goes through to deny what happened on January 6th and not feel as though every election from there on isn't a battle for our democracy, for this country's morality. I can't. I don't. Hi, Andrew. How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
What's on your mind?
Sorry, you caught me eating.
Oh, that's all right. I can talk for another minute. 773-763.
No. I'm sorry.
All righty, no worries.
With the election in Virginia.
The election in Virginia, yes.
I just hope we don't do what we always do. It's my understanding that a couple places in the northeast of Virginia that are highly Democratic, solid strongholds. Please don't have those be the last ones to report and have a problem reporting again, because it always makes us look bad.
Yeah. It does. It's hard to even get people riled up for these things. It does make us look bad. I'm sorry. What are you eating? I love it.
Stronghold Democratic ones are always late. I mean, if the stronghold Democratic places and polling places are always very late, and they have a problem, that just gives people fuel to say there was problems.
Oh yeah, that there was election rigging, or that there was tampering, or it's everything. I don't know. Things just don't seem right. It seems hinky, is what they'll say.
Right. Well, thank you.
No problem. Go ahead and finish your meal, Lady B. I didn't mean to interrupt his meal. Sorry about that. Thanks, Andrew. Brian from Joliet. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hi, Patty. How are you? I'm doing fine, thank you.
I think I'm well, too.
Good. Well, I just wanted to say that, and I agree with the first gentleman who called in, and I think he did a great job of expressing himself. And I think that if Joe Biden is really sincere, I think he needs to demand a primetime network speech on all news channels for about an hour to explain the necessity of human infrastructure, the 3.5 trillion human infrastructure, the necessity of getting H.R. 1 and H.R. 4 passed and ending the filibuster, and the necessity of getting the George Floyd Policing Reform Act passed.
I think that's to walk us through it, whatever it takes to get people on the same, at least to be informed and not have all these. There's always some. Well, we don't know what's in the bill, or how are we going to pay for it, or what does that actually do? I think that you're right. Have a fireside chat with us and use whatever platform is available. And if you get every network, that would be great. And I'm sure they would give it to him, even though he's not as caustic and crazy as the last guy. But I think you've got a point there.
Well, thank you very much, Patty, and thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day.
You as well. Look forward to talking to you again, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Bye.
Bye. And Jasmine is on the line. Jasmine, how are you doing tonight?
I'm great. And you?
Yeah, it's Jasmine. I wasn't sure if it was the Jasmine. It's the Jasmine. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Thank you for calling.
Doing pretty well. I've been catching up on my news this week. I've been kind of taking a break, and I've learned some stuff that just makes me go, wow. And also at the same time, not totally surprised.
Right.
I've been learning about the fact that we're learning which people on Capitol Hill were responsible for January 6th.
Who were having meetings and, yep.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, again, I don't know if I should be surprised or what, but it's just, it's disgusting and scary. And I don't know if I have time to share the fact that I literally bawled on election night, because I knew something was coming. I just didn't know it would be this bad.
I know, and it's interesting. I was just talking to the audience yesterday. I was telling them the story about how my last night on the air at my previous station was actually, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but my last night was a conversation that became relevant yesterday. There was a guest on our show. His name was Jim Turk, and he's visually impaired, and he teaches jiu-jitsu to people who have visual impairment. He's out of Villa Park, but I was telling him about how, people will grab you in, like, on the train platform. He calls them annoying helpers, and you did such a great job that my last night on the air of walking us through that and how scary and frustrating that can be. And I was telling the audience that I've had the pleasure of talking to you for almost 7 or 8 years, and I think I may have mentioned before that you were my last call that night right before Trump took the stage, and I was trying to talk you through it while also talking myself through it. Of course, I mean, on the other hand, I think that you've become very politically active. Do you think even more so had he not won?
I'm sorry?
Do you think you're more politically active than you would have been had Trump not won? Like, not that...
100%.
It fired you up. Yeah, it got you motivated and involved.
I think it fired a lot of people up, honestly.
I agree.
And, now every election I can't wait to vote. Even if the machines are a little, sometimes people don't know how to use them, and that's a whole other conversation. But every time there's an election, I can't wait to vote, local or national.
How are your peers, do you think, when it comes to voting? Are they as excited, or at least on somewhere on the spectrum of being interested?
Well, I know one of my friends she votes, but she doesn't think it really matters because of the Electoral College. But I mean, she still votes, which is good. I have another friend down in, I went to Southern Illinois recently, and he also votes, but he doesn't really care for news.
Right.
So I know my friends do vote. They're just kind of indifferent about it. Like they don't get the true meaning of voting. I don't think.
Well, we'll have to do more reaching out for younger folks because, as I mentioned, only 35% of people between 18 and 29 say that they're planning to vote in the elections in their areas next year. And that's
scary.
It's very scary. Jasmine, can you let folks know where if they're ever curious about sailing lessons and find out more about the programs that you participate in, let them know where to go?
Yeah, sure. So I sail with the Judd Goldman Adaptive Sailing Foundation at Burnham Harbor. They're a Chicago Park District program, and they go from June through mid-September, so they're very much done now. Most boats are in now, and I did learn, by the way, that the program, they do offer classes for like sighted people, just non-disabled sailors on these boats called Colgates. But you have to do that through the park district.
Okay.
I don't think you can just call the office. But yeah, if you have someone in your family that is a disabled person and you think they might want to get out on the water, enjoy coming down, and they're always looking for volunteers.
Excellent.
Also, real quick, I just wanted to comment.
Of course.
What you guys were saying about billionaires earlier. Honestly, if I had that kind of money, just give me a boat. Just give me a nice, modest boat and give the rest of it to the homeless or charity for all I care.
I love that. I know how much you love being on the water, and it's been great following your journey, and I look forward to continuing the same.
All right, you guys have a good rest of your night.
Thank you, Jasmine. Let's take a break here. I'll take the last two calls when I bring Tom Appel, and I'll have to sort of do double duty because we have to go to a break, and we'll be right back after this on Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. That's me. And we're on WCPT 820, and we're thrilled that you're here.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT Willow Springs is powered by ComEd. Lower your energy bills and reduce your carbon footprint with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago traffic update.
South to Sauble Lakeshore Drive, jammed up from North Avenue on down to the Chicago Avenue light. East 8094, crawling from the Tri-State on over to Burr. In Gary, the entrance ramp from westbound 5th Avenue blocked to southbound Klein with a rolled over semi. Eden's Inn from Lake Cook Road 46. Kennedy outbound 17 to the junction, ditto in the express, 40 minutes to the airport. Inbound from O'Hare, 54 minutes, 20 of that on in from the junction. Ike outbound reeling from an earlier crash near Des Plaines Avenue. Circle to 390 an hour and 14 inbound hour 7. Stevenson outbound, that's a nightmare. Now there was a crash at Cass. It's finally been cleared, but the damage is done. DeSamba Lakeshore Drive on out to 355. That's traffic. I'm Mary DeBadges.
All too often, the media are ignoring the everyday heroics of our policemen and women. Well, that changes on News Nation. Dan Abrams and his live PD sidekick Sticks are back in prime time on Dan Abrams Live, weeknights at 8, 7 Central on News Nation.
Paid for by government.com.
The 1878 to 1921 Morgan Silver Dollar, a true American classic and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It has been 100 years since the last Morgan Silver Dollar coin was struck. But now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government-struck Morgan dollars are being released to the public. That's right, you can own a full pound of 1878 to 1921 classic American Morgan Silver Dollar coins, all in very good collector condition with fully visible dates and mint marks. Guaranteed. Call 1-800-973-9712 now to secure collector-grade U.S. Morgan silver dollars by the pound, struck during the Wild West and the Gilded Age. Plus, receive a bonus American Collector's Pack valued at over $25, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9712 now to secure your full pound bag of Morgan silver dollar coins before they are gone. 1-800-973-9712. That's 1-800-973-9712.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
My friend Marty, he wants to split the party. He wants blue folks in red states to vote green. I can see his point, though I really gotta say, no, we can't have another 2016. It seems nothing beats orange, nothing even freaking rhymes with it.
That is Steve Goody from his album What I Did During My Pandemic Vacation, available at stevegoody.com. That's Goodie. And their Halloween special that he and Brad Tassel performed last weekend is also available on that website, as well as all of his other albums. Incredibly fun. And, we have Tom Appel in studio. So, Tom, I've got to take a couple more calls about voting. Sure. Do you get excited when you vote?
Do I get excited?
Yes, I get excited.
Nervous.
Why do you get nervous?
Because the whole judge thing slows me down.
Okay.
I'm bad at judges.
You're bad at... Well, it's a lot of information.
It is.
So it's a lot of pressure is what you're saying.
I feel guilty about it.
All right. We'll figure... We'll I've got a lot of friends that run judicial races. I'll get you the lowdown next time.
That would be handy.
I get you closer to the microphone. I got to see what I'm doing wrong. Let me try. Let me see if it's this one. Go ahead.
All right.
Oh, that's better.
Okay.
That's the one. I found the right. I love finding the right buttons. Jim has been on hold. You should see me in a car. I'm a mess. Hey, Jim, how are you doing?
Hi, Patty. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I just want to say to that caller, Democratic voters look bad when they win. Apparently, the Republican voters. That's his beef. And whoever really looked bad was in that 2000. When the hanging chance in Florida, they should make a movie out of that one. You know, when they rigged that vote down in Florida. But Democrats still look bad when they win. You know, when they win.
Can I tell you a secret about our caller that he was eating while he was talking on the phone?
I know how ridiculous.
No. But here's the secret that I should probably tell people. Just because I was trying to pay attention. There's a hearing sensory thing. I can't stand the sound of people eating and talking with their mouth full. So it was bothering me.
Chewing gum, I'm ready to strangle him. If you're chewing gum, I want to strangle you. You know what I mean?
It's a disorder, and like it's a thing where I can't.
Not a disorder. It's very appropriate. It's very appropriate.
No. Ask my husband. Ask my husband. It's a disorder when it comes to me.
Anyway, Patty, that's enough for me today. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, Jim. Sorry to our listener who was eating while he was talking on the phone. He said something. I'm like, I try repeating the last 3 words because I completely checked out. I just told everybody a little secret about myself. So if you want to figure out how to check me out, make me check out. Just eat while you're talking to me. You know what? I might eat while Roosevelt's talking. Hi, Roosevelt. How are you doing?
You know how I am.
Are you fired up?
I'm gonna go. You're gonna have plenty of time to eat. Thank you for taking my call, Patty.
Of course.
You know, while I was listening to your people that were calling, such good people that call and they really care about this country and really love this country and in a way, I was thinking, putting all this stuff together. You know, the people that were talking and what's going on, what happened on January 6th. And go ahead and eat, Patty, by the way. And I was thinking, how far down the Republican Party, well, there is no Republican Party, how far down they come. And my rhetorical question to you is, were they like this all along and we didn't notice? They pulled the wool over us and over their own voters since Reagan, because basically the tactics that Trump used were the same tactics that Reagan used in pointing the finger at minorities, like what he did with that, saying that they're taking your money. There's a woman with a pink Cadillac with 7 different children by 7 different men, and you know how it is. But
I would say that yes. I was talking to a friend of mine. There's a great comedian named Dwayne Kennedy who wrote a piece after Trump won about a lot of Republicans saying that's not who we are, and he's like, no, he's just saying the quiet stuff out loud now. But you guys, many of you, have been this way, and I think that they've been waiting for that guy with that sort of disgustingness. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah. Look, I've said this over and over again. The moment he mocked a reporter with a disability and they didn't care, I knew it was over. I knew that he could win.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to disagree with you. Totally disagree with you. The moment he came down that escalator,
no, that's true.
With his,
with
his wife that he fixed the papers of her parents once he got into office, Remember?
Yep.
He said that he wasn't going to let people in and anchor babies and all that. But the moment he said things about Mexico, I knew who he was right there and then.
No, I knew who he was. It was that his followers didn't care that he made fun of a disabled reporter. Well, he didn't have followers yet.
And I'm glad you said that, his followers.
Yes.
And that's precisely one of my points I wanted to make. There's intelligent people that call the station, professional people that have education, that still follow him, even though he did what he did on January 6th. And my other question is this. Don't they think that they're next? They're going to find a reason why you are not going to be a part of the Trump party, because basically that's what it is. And when it comes down to the tactics he used, it's nothing new, divide and conquer. But here's the deal. It came out. He made the people come out like mushrooms, the people that were the underbelly of this country as far as racism. As far as racism, Patty.
I know. No. I agree completely.
The crime against Asian and Latin American and African American, which, by the way, he always uses African Americans to prop them up behind him whenever he has a rally.
Right.
I mean, who would have thought that an ex-president would have rallies right after he got thrown out of office or voted out of office? Let me correct myself. Who would have thought that? You know, can you imagine if Obama would have done that if he would have lost, or the gentleman that lost in Florida what's his name?
I've lost track now of the Florida races. Who was? Nope.
No, the president, the one that they took is the Democrat.
Oh, what was that? Sorry, Lady B. That was me. I hit the wrong button. Lady B's like, I've never even heard that sound.
Yeah.
I'm always here to do something new. Yeah, the president of the what? Nope.
The United States. The guy that the court said that
oh, Gore. You mean when they suspended the count?
I don't know. I couldn't think of his name.
He wasn't the president.
Anyway,
yes, he won the popular vote. Wow.
Let's look at the steps going down. Since then, the democracy has been going down. And the only time we work together, which is sad, is right after 9/11. Everybody, because we have one common enemy. But even though Bush flipped that around and pointed to Iraq and Afghanistan and got us into that 20-year-old war. But back to the people that call and the people that still follow him, these people are so, I'm not going to say stupid. They just have something bad in them. That's my opinion. There's something naturally bad in them that connects them to Trump. And I don't know if it's racism, the fact that they want to be rich like Trump. I don't know what it is. But there's something inherently bad with them.
Wow. I don't know how to go in here. I like to think many have been misguided, misled, misinformed, and fell for it. And it's not easy. It's not easy to say you've been tricked either. You know, it's embarrassing. There's shame in that, and it makes some people dig in deeper and hold on to that identity.
Yeah, but I think a big percentage, Patty, I think they use that as an excuse. They use these things. They use that as an excuse that they've been fooled. They use religion as an excuse, a cop-out. We used to call it a cop-out in the old early 70s days. And to me, I don't know. Maybe I'm too harsh on those people, but I can't believe that all of them are like that. You mean to tell me all the people that were in the insurrection, they were all misguided? I don't think so.
Oh, well, to a radical extent. I would say this. I try to soften my heart, because if we make them other, if it's all that they have something bad in them, we other them in the same way they do to us. And I get they're more, that's part, unfortunately, it's part of why they're more successful, because they can make people enemies. And I'm not as inclined to do that. I still look for the goodness in people. I guess that's what I'm talking about.
Well, you're
I'm not
a
ready to
better
write people
woman
off.
than I am a man, I guess. So
I wouldn't go that far, Roosevelt. We all have our attributes, our positive attributes. Thank you so much, Roosevelt. I'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. What I was trying to do is this, and I don't know if it works. No,
Let's go help people customize
nope, that's a commercial. I was going to play something for you, and now I have to see if I can do it without. Hold on, let me do this. It was going to be for Tom Appel. Nope. Tom Appel's in the studio. Oh my God, how many commercials are on this? Make this stop. There we go. I'll do that way. I was going to play something for you. Tom Appel joins us in studio to talk about cars. He's the host of Car Stuff Podcast. And I was going to ask, because you told me last time that I asked you what you drive, and you basically, it's whatever they give you to test drive. So
That's right.
What are you test driving this week?
I am driving the Toyota Sienna Xse. So that's Toyota's minivan.
You got a minivan?
I'm in a minivan. It's sportiest, and sporty is a funny word to use.
Sportiest?
Sportiest when we're talking about minivans. But indeed, it comes off as relatively sporty. But the cool thing about the Sienna, it was redesigned last year, they're all hybrids.
I'm so excited about that. It took them long enough, didn't it?
Not Toyota. Other makers have been slow to embrace.
The Pacifica has been out for a while.
It has. That's a plug-in hybrid, a little bit more money.
Okay.
But you can get free miles if you plug it in.
So, yeah. So how is a price comparison with a Toyota Sienna like previously when it was all gas? Is it about the same price?
It's about the same. It may be about $1,500 more, but all the models are hybrid now.
What?
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, and the mileage is great.
One of the things that people love about the Chrysler Pacifica and the I think it's a town. What's the other? There's two where the seats fold into the floor.
Stow and go.
The stow and go.
Stow and go.
They
yeah.
love that. I'm guessing the Toyota Sienna has not done that.
No one else did stow and go, and it's funny because there are so few players in the minivan field that people do different things, but it's not really worth catching up with everyone else.
Okay,
you
fair.
know, so you have stow and go on Chryslers, you have a base hybrid model on the Toyota. So that's kind of the way. And Chrysler just chose to go with the plug-in hybrid route, which is more money, more complicated, and a bigger commitment. But that's their thing.
So how do you like, because I had for a long time, I had a Honda Odyssey for 15 years, and I think I told you I hated the color, but I mean, that thing was a beast, and I loved it, but the mileage was terrible. I mean, it was getting like 3 miles to the gallon. I know I'm exaggerating. Welcome to my world. But it was terrible. So this is huge.
Yeah, minivan mileage has been traditionally pretty dull. It's better now. I think a conventional minivan, you're going to see closer to 20 these days.
Okay.
But we're seeing like 35
with the Sienna?
Yeah.
35? That's close to my RAV. My Prius is ridiculous. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
But that's great. 35 miles to the gallon is amazing. I love that. So how does it drive?
It's good. It's good. For 2021, we made the Chrysler Pacifica a Best Buy pick. We haven't announced our 2022 Best Buy picks, but the Sienna's certainly in the running. It's a much better vehicle now. It's quieter. It rides better. The interior is nicer, which was a big deal because the Chrysler interior is pretty great.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. People love those interiors. Because I remember when, again, we bought our minivan in 2005, so we looked at the Nissan Quest. Right, we looked at the Chryslers, the Toyotas, the Honda. I loved the way it drove. It was a nice, solid car.
It was always the most fun minivan to drive.
Although, do you remember the movie Get Shorty?
Yeah.
How everyone had the black. It was a Chrysler, wasn't it?
No, that was the Oldsmobile Silhouette.
It was a Silhouette. How long ago did that go away?
Oh, a long time ago. They kept referring to it as the Cadillac of minivans.
Yes, they were trying to get that.
If you're a car guy, that's so funny.
The Oldsmobile Silhouette. I just remember, like, he was just trying to make it cool. And by the time they were done, Gene Hackman has one, and Danny DeVito has one. It was quite funny to me. Hold on. This is what I was trying to play for you. Let me see if this works now.
This is Jim Rockford.
Oh, yeah.
So you liked this show growing up? Or
No, I embraced it as an adult. My dad watched it when I was a kid. But the Firebird thing totally working for me. And James Garner, one of the greatest.
Oh my God, the coolest cat.
Just the best.
Yeah, isn't he? He's amazing. Yeah, so I saw that. My dad loved that show too. There was that and Barnaby Jones were like two.
Really?
Do you remember Barnaby Jones?
A Quinn Martin presentation.
Poor Buddy Ebsen. It took him that long from going
to get a straight roll.
Yes, from having to drop as a Tin Man because he had an allergic reaction to the makeup, and then it took him all the way up until the 70s for him to become a household name.
He was like 107, I think, in the first season of Barnaby Jones.
I think that you're right about that. Yeah, there were so many great shows. Well, here's the thing. So, what are your favorite cars from like Beretta had some great? Didn't he have like a coupe, some sort? I don't know if it was a Charger or something. Beretta was a great great show.
I don't remember what Beretta drove.
Yeah, in the 70s, there were so many shows that had like Trans Ams and Firebirds and I like watching. One of my favorite cars in a show is the one in Supernatural, which is a Dodge Charger.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite cars from movies and TV?
You know what I just started watching, and I'm not sure I like it, so this is in no way an endorsement, is Mannix. But INSP is running Mannix. And Mannix drove, he was a detective, but he drove like a 68 Dodge Dart GT, which is convertible. And it's very cool.
Oh, see, and especially because obviously that show, I don't know where it's located. We've been watching a few of those too. My husband made me watch one episode where he's like leaping over these railings, chasing some guy. He's like, look at it, he's doing it himself. There's no stunt double. But it is funny when you see convertibles, and this is not a convertible area, obviously.
No.
But I mean, and the roll top. Whenever I see something with a roll top, or the removable T-tops and things like that, this is not a location for those things.
No, America is no longer a place for convertibles. They represent a very, very small fraction of cars sold here anymore. People aren't into them anymore. But yeah, the Midwest was a terrible place for convertibles.
Are sunroofs still desirable for folks?
Yes, and actually sunroofs have gotten huge. It depends on the vehicle you're driving, but some minivans have Titanic. They call them skylights, they call them moonlights, different things, but they've gotten huge. They don't open all the way, but the roofs are all glass. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's the thing is those are when you go to look for a car. I don't know that it's not something I necessarily need. I used to have one. I feel like my GTI had a crank one. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I had a Sunbird with a pop-out, so I could snap it up about an inch or take it off manually and put it in the trunk.
Oh, boy. We're talking to Tom Appel. He's the host of the Car Stuff podcast, and I just saw in his bio on Twitter that he likes the Rockford Files, so I just thought it'd be funny to play the soundtrack for that. Before I go to the break, John's been on hold, and he wanted to join the conversation about voting and voters for Trump. Hey, John from Tinley Park, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What's up?
Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, just not this last caller, but the previous caller who almost wanted to call the Trump supporters stupid. I get it because I understand why he would think that, but believe it or not, there's a lot of Trump supporters who do not agree with his rhetoric or his shoot from the cuff type, how he carries himself or his crazy social media tweets, but they do agree with certain things he got done, like breaking up NAFTA, maybe, getting more space in airports for women to breastfeed, lowering poverty rates, or not just, across
So let me ask you this.
Minorities and things. So I just want, I just want to say that, even though we don't agree with the rhetoric, I do not condone making fun of anyone who's got some special need or who's retarded or has,
my God! No, exactly. You just did no. You're right there. The fact that you just so cavalierly dropped that word, no. Right there. I'm going to go to a break right now no, not acceptable. Goodbye. I was going to go along and I was going to say, tell me that the racism is worth it. Tell me that denigrating women is worth it. Tell me that sexual assault and violence against women is acceptable to get what you want. But you know what? You said it all right there with that one word. All right, I got to go to a break. Not okay. You know what? And I didn't dump it because people are always like, what's the R word? That was the R word.
This is Joan Esposito, and here at WCPT, we love pets. So much that we're spotlighting an adoptable, adorable dog or cat every month. So many deserving pets are waiting for their forever home. We've partnered with community shelters and our sponsors, Love for Dogs Pet Grooming and Mark Drugs, to talk about why rescue is best. It's all on Joan Esposito Live, Local and Progressive. See our current adoptable at WCPT820.com.
Paid for by government.com.
The 1878 to 1921 Morgan silver dollar, a true American classic and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It has been 100 years since the last Morgan silver dollar coin was struck. But now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government struck Morgan dollars are being released to the public. That's right. You can own a full pound of 1878 to 1921 classic American Morgan silver dollar coins, all in very good collector condition with fully visible dates and mint marks. Guaranteed guaranteed. Call 1-800-973-9712 now to secure collector-grade U.S. Morgan silver dollars by the pound, struck during the Wild West and the Gilded Age. Plus, receive a bonus American Collector's Pack valued at over $25, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9712 now to secure your full pound bag of Morgan silver dollar coins before they are gone. 1-800-973-9712. That's 1-800-973-9712.
This is the sound of the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, saving you money and energy while helping you lower your carbon footprint. With discounts on Energy Star certified LED bulbs, so you can come back to a home full of savings. Learn more at ComEd.com/lighting. ComEd, powering lives.
My friend Marty, he wants to split the party. He wants blue folks in red states to vote green. I can see his point, though I really gotta say, no, we can't have another 2016.
Sorry, I'm replaying the same song because I'm still trying to cool off. Tom Appel joins us in studio. People are texting me, Tom, like, oh boy. Tom Appel joins us. He's the host of the Car Stuff podcast every Sunday right here on WCPT. And people are texting me their favorite cars. You said the car from Starsky and Hutch is a Ford
Torino.
Ford Torino
with a big 351 under the hood.
Nice. I don't know what that means, but
it means nothing.
I do. I went through the minivan. I have a small SUV. What are people? Obviously, people want hybrids. Electric cars are still prohibitive for a lot of folks, whether it's the cost of the actual car or having access to a plug-in. But there are more spots. Obviously, it's
getting better.
Yes,
and you can do it at home. If you can charge at home, this isn't much of a challenge for you.
But you have to have that. You have that installed.
You do have to have it installed.
Yeah, so it's kind of a challenge. When you're given an electric car to test drive, do you have a charger at home?
We have one at the office.
Okay.
So we have a level 2 charger. So let's say it's just a conventional EV. It probably takes 8 hours for a full charge. So a work day, top to bottom charge. But I don't drive the whole battery down. I go home, go to a health club, and come back. So I'm only in for 30 or 40 miles, and I can get that in an hour and a half.
You know what I often worried about because I'm on the road a lot. Like comics have to go, there are days when we have to drive like 7-8 hours to get to the next gig between a Friday and Saturday. And when I got the Prius, one of the things I wondered is, are there, in rural places, like if I'm in the middle of Iowa and I've got an electric car and something goes wrong, how easy is it to access somebody who knows what they're doing with a car like that?
If you have a mechanical problem?
Yeah.
It should be okay because whoever is selling the car should be part of a dealer network that can fix the car.
So as long as I'm close to a dealership in the middle of Iowa?
Yes. Now, Iowa, you raise a very interesting point because not all dealers will be carrying electric cars immediately.
Yeah.
And they may not be certified to service them. So that's a legit concern.
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with like the Chevrolet Volt, for example, most dealers can sell the Chevy Volt and they know how to fix it. Also, there's a lot less to go wrong. Motors are a lot less complicated than engines.
Okay.
So they should be less problematic.
Well, with that in mind, do you get on the road? I mean, before the pandemic, were you on road trips at all, like, for the weekend or going a few hundred miles?
Yeah, I visit my kid at school, and she's out near Iowa.
Okay.
So that's a trip.
There you go.
That's 3 hours each way. I drive to Detroit once or twice a year, and that's 5-6 hours the other way.
Right. And
yeah.
Do you have, and I'm not asking you to give specifics, but do you carry, I have AAA. I love, that's my go-to as far as roadside service. Because when you buy a car, they're like, oh, you can have our roadside service and wherever you go. What do you tell folks when they consider those kinds of things when they're traveling?
That's a good question because I live the charmed life. I'm always in test cars.
Right.
So there are different services that would get me out of trouble and have.
Right.
Actually.
Because they want to look good.
Right.
You're the critic.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, we can make use of roadside assistance is standard with a lot of vehicles. We've had AAA, a guest from AAA on our show. They're pretty useful. I don't recommend or not recommend them because it's money you have to pay up front and maybe you don't need to do that. But yeah, if you're worried about it and brings you peace of mind, something like that's not expensive.
Right. Because, again, I travel alone and it's so much better now. I mean, when I started working and doing stand-up in 1995, a lot has changed for worrying about being on the side of the road. How about, when you say that there isn't a lot that's going to go mechanically wrong, we talked last time about certain cars that aren't as good mechanically as others. We don't have to go into any. We don't have to, but like Jeep tends to be something that's a little more problematic for folks, right?
Right, and I'm not saying that Jeep has some reliability problems. Actually,
there you go.
All of the Stellantis products do. That's the old FCA group. That's Dodge. That's Chrysler. That's Jeep. I'm missing a brand, but that's fine. Ram, that's the other brand. But there's still, if you look at the scale top to bottom, reliable, not reliable, it's not a very big spread.
Okay.
By historic standards versus 20 years ago, everything is very reliable these days.
And pickup trucks are doing really well, and they're starting to go electric as well.
The Ford F-150 Lightning will hit the road later this year or early next year. So that'll be the first all-electric pickup truck. Chevy's going to follow up shortly after that. So, yeah, we're going to see that. Also, Hummer, the brand name Hummer is back.
I'm sorry, what?
Unbelievable.
What? Hummers are back?
You're allowed to be flummoxed by that. But GMC is using the Hummer brand to sell electric vehicles, and that'll be the first General Motors electric pickup. And we're going to see that very soon.
Yeah, that got popular because people were watching coverage of the wars.
This is like a mea culpa. This is some sort of absolution for General Motors to bring the Hummer brand back and make it green.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I like I told you last time, I was in a Tesla for the first time. They're cool. They're very cool on the inside. There's something very like, we were talking about, what's his name? It does Virgin Airlines. It feels like a Virgin flight inside the car for some reason, like with the way it's lit, the underlighting, sort of that purple hue, at least the one I was in.
So how did you feel about sort of the lack of visible controls?
Well, since I didn't have to drive it, I was a passenger in a Lyft. But it was weird, like when even getting in, having to push the handle to get it out. Everything's sort of like, everything's like tucked inside. It definitely felt, forward, futuristic in a lot of ways. How do you like the fact that it's got a lack of, the layout of it for the controls?
Oh, I'm old and traditional, so it weirds me out.
Yeah.
But I'm getting used to it. I just actually wrote today about the Mercedes-Benz S Class, which is all new for 2021. Similar thing. Most of the controls have moved from the dash and the console into a giant touchscreen.
Oh, gosh.
A little weird. It takes some time to orient, but it makes sense. Everything is cleaner. Everything is simpler. Also, if they need to fix or update things later, they can. So it's an interesting step in a direction we're all going to go whether we want to or not.
I know. I told you I got an older RAV because I didn't like the screen being so jacked up in the middle of the console.
Well, there's no hiding from the screen anymore.
No, that's why I got a 19 RAV, and I like that one. It's a fun car to drive. Is there anything you wanted to make sure you talked about before we take off today?
You know, it's a fun story. Maybe we can talk about it next week or next month. Hertz has made an arrangement to buy 100,000 Teslas for use in its rental fleet.
Come on.
Yeah. So a lot of details not there yet. So this is just sort of a tease.
We'll talk more about this next month.
Yeah, it's a huge story.
That's amazing.
Yeah, big deal.
So every Sunday at 1 o'clock?
Every Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Every Sunday right here in WCPT. And I want to thank Tom for bringing dangerous substances into the studio. He brought us some spunky dunkers, which you can see if you were watching our Facebook Live. Look at that. They're so tasty. Thank you for treating us all here, Tom. And thank you for joining us. And you know what? I shouldn't have even taken that call. And I took it anyway. If anyone's wondering what the R word was, no, it was not Republican. It was unnecessary, and it's cruel, and shame on you for saying it. But thank you so much for Tom for writing. It was better to have somebody in here because I honestly would have started throwing things maybe if you hadn't been here to help calm me down, Tom.
It feels good to be useful.
Well, you're more than that. You're lovely. Tom can be found on Twitter at Tom Appel. Where else can they find you?
Mostly Twitter. I do all my car chatting on Twitter.
Go car chat with Tom, will you?
Yeah.
Rick Unger is up next. Thank you, Lady B. I'm going to go breathe in a corner somewhere. I'll be back tomorrow, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on Driving Home with Patti Vasquez. Rick Unger is up next.
This is Tom Hartman, and I'm gearing up for another great virtual labor panel with WCPT and my union friends. We'll be live from 4 to 6 p.m. on Wednesday, November 10th on 8:20 a.m., the live stream, Facebook, and on Zoom. I'll be joined by my co-hosts, Joan Esposito and Patti Vasquez, and an esteemed panel of leaders and influencers in the labor community. President Biden has reset our future and given us hope again. And this panel is all about what hope looks like, not only for unions, but the middle class, because you can't have one without the other. We'll be discussing the state of the Infrastructure Act, Building Back Better, immigration reform, and our workforce, the future of clean energy for jobs in the trades, and how labor is embracing diversity and inclusion through apprenticeship training as well as in the workplace. See you there. Thank you to our generous sponsors, Smart Local 265, Operating Engineers Local 399, and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Log on to WCPT820.com for more information.
AP News, I'm Tim McGuire. President Biden's social services and climate change package, at least $1.75 trillion, hits another snag as West Virginia Democrat Senator Joe Manchin is said to have objected to a proposed billionaire's tax. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders warns failure by the Democrats to reach a deal amongst themselves, wanted by the majority of the people, will cause serious harm.
If we fail, in my view, if the American people do not believe that government can work for them and is dominated by powerful special interests, the very fabric of American democracy is in danger.
House progressives want the larger measure set before they agree to passage of the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure deal. The president is pressing for an agreement before he heads to Europe for summits. Attorney General Merrick Garland vigorously defends a memo he sent aimed at stopping the threats of violence against school officials. He tells the Senate Judiciary Committee the threats have increased and are not against just school board members.
It's in a rising tide of threats of violence against judges, against prosecutors, against secretaries of state, against election administrators, against doctors, against protesters, against news reporters.
Republicans on the committee sharply criticized Garland. Arkansas's Tom Cotton.
This testimony, your directive, your performance is shameful.
Okay. That's not
Thank God you are not on the Supreme Court. You should resign in disgrace, Judge.
Garland says parents have the right to express their concerns, but his primary concern is to prevent violence and threats. Santa Fe County, New Mexico Sheriff Adnan Mendoza says they believe they have the gun fired accidentally by